This is my first manga project. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Leave your feedback. Chapter 2 coming soon. 300 years ago, the world was simple. No gates, no monsters, no cracks in the sky. Just ordinary days, markets, schools, families at dinner. Life kept repeating peacefully. Then the difference appeared in newborns. One child was born, and a hand began to shine. At first, they called it a miracle. Then it happened again and again. Not strong enough to break walls, but strong enough to change everything. By morning, it wasn't a baby was born anymore. It was a baby glows. The clip spread in hours. News, phones, whispers. Some called it a hoax. Others swore it was real. And then it happened again. A child lifted a glass without touching it. Another made a toy spin in midair, like gravity forgot its rules. People laughed until the first accident. A tiny mistake, and suddenly, someone was bleeding. Years passed. The miracle didn't disappear, it multiplied. Children became teenagers, and the sparks became flames. A hand could summon fire. A gesture could bend the wind. Skin could harden like stone. Power was growing, but fear grew faster. In the crowded market, it started with something stupid, a bump, a shove, a loud warning. Then, power answered anger. A fist lit up, sparks turning into flame. One blast was enough. Carts flipped, people scattered, and panic spread faster than the fire. Screams filled the street. Smoke swallowed the air. What was a small fight became a disaster. And within seconds, an entire building caught, like the city itself was made of dry paper. A child stood frozen, watching the flames rise, not understanding how quickly the world could change. Two powers collided, and the street couldn't handle it. A single impact, like thunder at point-blank range. The shockwave rolled through the market. Carts shattered, people were thrown off their feet, and the crowd broke into a stampede. Then the fire spread, fast. Flames swallowed rooftops, smoke drowned the sky, and the city learned a new rule. Power doesn't just hurt people, it erases homes. Power split the world in two. Some used it to protect, pulling people from rubble, holding back flames. But others discovered something darker. If you were strong enough, you didn't have to save anyone. You could rule them. And when power became authority, resistance became ash. Cities fell. Borders tore. Nations burned. After the wars, the city didn't rebuild. It only learned how to survive. Fear made everyone strangers. Neighbors became threats, and silence became habit. Then one name spread through the ruins. Jaber. He didn't beg. He didn't negotiate. He raised his hand, and the air obeyed. A pressure like a storm, forcing heads down, forcing hearts to freeze. And for the first time, the city listened. This chaos ends today. Months passed, and order returned, piece by piece. The streets were still broken, but people lined up again. Rules became routine. One rule above all, no power in the streets. Jaber understood what the world learned too late. A city can't survive on strength alone. It needs structure. So he gathered the ones who could build it. We'll form guilds. They will train the powered and police them. And that night, the world's new system began. People returned to schools, to jobs, to routine. Checkpoints replaced panic. Rules replaced fear. For a while it worked. Families walked the streets again. Kids laughed again. They thought it was over. They thought Jaber had brought order. But something remained. Not a law. Not a guild. Not even a king. A presence. Silent. Patient. High above the city, in the dark where no one looks, it opened one eye. And kept watching. 230 years later, the world moved on. Cities rose higher. Traffic flowed. People smiled like the past was only a story. But the rules were no longer warnings. They were curriculum. They were paperwork. They were law. Power became something you could register, something you could classify, something you could lose. Warrior. Tank. Assassin. Sniper. Mage. A category for every life, and a punishment for every mistake. On mornings like any other, the system felt normal. But this isn't the story of the strongest. It's the story of Ali, a boy born with nothing, in a world that worships power. Chapter 2, His Beginning. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this first chapter. If you have feedback, good or bad, leave it in the comments. Your words help me improve. Chapter 2, coming soon.